If you remain standing, now we will sing the national anthem. To the U.S. flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, so you can be seated. Yeah, okay. Tim, come on.
Not to be confused with the Reverend Jim. Father, we praise you for this event and thank you for allowing us to get together with our fellow Republicans and Republican candidates. We also thank you for the purpose you have bestowed upon us today. We know that when we gather together, you always have a divine agenda. We love you for that, Father, that even when we have done what you have asked us, the results are so much greater than we could have ever imagined. Even failed attempts, you blow us away with your faithfulness to provide what we need. Let us listen carefully to the candidates who are coming before us this evening. In the words of the great radio announcer, take what you need, leave the rest. Amen.
Yeah, you're on it.
Good evening, and welcome to our special meeting tonight to meet the candidates. So we had a meeting on January the 10th, and we have another meeting, a dinner meeting on February the 15th. But to be able to introduce to you all the candidates that we need to introduce, we had to have this special meeting in the open seat. So I'm glad you're here. So I have someone saying they can't hear me. It's working, so I just need to talk louder.
There you go.
That is a mistake, asking me to talk louder. Well, first of all, on behalf of the board members of the Republican Club here at Heritage Ranch, I wish to welcome all of you to this evening. It is our solemn duty to provide for you the information that you need to make the proper decisions going forward. And the election that's coming up, it is most important that we select the candidate that has the best opportunity of winning, because we have to win this election. In a few minutes, you'll get to meet some of the candidates and office holders tonight. I just want to say a couple of words, though, before we do that. A few months ago, we sat here together in this room and we gave a big shout out from Heritage Ranch to our friends, our fellow brothers and sisters in Virginia for winning that all-important election and taking control of that state. As I reflect back on that night a few months ago and the joy that we all felt, I remember us talking about the fact that the silent majority in this country was upset and was speaking out and was on the move. Today, we see what has our people so upset. We had an embarrassing moment in Afghanistan with trying to conduct what should have been an orderly retreat. We have an awful situation in Russia and Ukraine right now. 125,000 troops are on the border. Why? Because someone smells weakness in the U.S. We have China flying jets over Taiwan on a regular basis to violate their airspace. Why? Because there is a sense of weakness from abroad about the leadership here in this country today. That we must stop. Internally, our people are suffering from the wrath of the biggest inflation increase we've had in 40 years. Our people continue to deal with the crisis at the border. That crisis that allows drugs to flow freely into this country and to take young women and force them into sex slavery, which is just a god-awful mark on their life forever. Those kind of things happen at our border. They happen every day because we don't have control of the border, and our people know it, and the American people are fed up with it. So you deal with that, you deal with inflation and all the other silly things that are going on in this country today, and then we ask ourselves, what about the administration and this president's popularity, which is at an all-time low, and the lowest for presidents in many years, regarded as the weakest president we've had in office since you have to go back to the days of Calvin Coolidge and those folks. So there's a lot going on. This election is so important that we get the right people in office. Everybody that you meet tonight is a good Republican, every one of them. And what we have to do is we've got to pick out the best person that can beat their opponent in the fall. Amen. So that's the tough job we have ahead. Now, if I could, I'd like to take those candidates that are not going to speak tonight and ask them to meet with Jane over here on this side door so that they can be introduce themselves to you. So any candidates or office holders who are not speaking tonight, please, Jane is out there and she'll get you to come up here on the stage and we'll all get to have a name and a face to recognize.
Hi y'all, I'm Candy Noble and I am honored to serve you in the Texas House.
Good evening, my name is Henry Lessner, I'm your mayor. I want to welcome all those candidates from all over the state of Texas here. I hope you enjoy our beautiful little town, and you can spend any money here you like. So.
Hi, my name is Dr. Matt Rosami. I'm an eye surgeon. My platform is to grow out the Republican Party by reaching out to independents, minorities, and the youth, and that's how we keep the Democrats at bay. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Randy Johnson. I am running to serve you as your next judge at Collin County Court at Law Number 5. God bless you for being here and for what you're doing. I hope to earn your vote. Thank you.
Dan Taylor, I fought for you as a U.S. Marine in Iraq, and I fight for you as a proven conservative in the U.S. Congress.
Good evening, Joel Petrazio. I'm also running for County Court of Law Number 5. I'm here to speak with you ask for your vote. Thanks for being here this evening.
Those of you who know Keith, no, I'm not Keith. I'm here to acknowledge Keith, who is running for Congress, District 3. I have known Keith for many years. He's a stand-up guy, integrity and courage. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. My name's C.D. Mayfield, and I'm running for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1. Serving is what I do. I served after high school in the Marine Corps. After that, I began serving as a police officer for the city of Allen and have done so for the last 23 years. And I'm hoping you give me a chance to serve you as your Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1. C.D. Mayfield, number 1 for Precinct 1, number 1 on the ballot. Thank you.
I'm Judge Emily Miskell, Judge of the 470th District Court here in Collin County. Thank you for re-electing me in 2020, and now in 2022, I'm running for our Court of Appeals. So please vote all the way down and vote in those justice and judge races. I appreciate your vote in November. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tom Novak. I'm your judge of the 366th District Court here in Collin County. Out of all the Polog, Aggie, male judges running, are y'all laughing? I am the smartest and best looking. I think that should get your vote if nothing else. Y'all have a great night. Thank you very much.
Hey everyone, I am Texas State Senator Angela Paxton. So great to see you tonight, and I'm your pistol packing mama if you've got your sticker on. I'm running again because I want to keep our future free. And I appreciate your support, and I tell you, it is a great honor to represent people who think right. Keep it up. Thank you.
Ready, Jack? I'm Judge Rowley. I am your Justice of the Peace and have been for 24 years. And it's a wonderful opportunity to be in front of the reddest people, in the reddest club, in the reddest county, in the reddest state of all of the United States.
Good evening, friends. I'm Chris Steele, your Collin County Judge, and it is my pleasure to serve you and your families. I'm on the ballot again, and I would be grateful to have your support and your vote. Thank you very much.
I'm Cynthia Brugge, and I just want to tell you have the good fortune of Suzanne Hart running for congressional office. She will be replacing Van Taylor. I hope you guys will come to a meet and greet from 11 to 1 on February 9th to find out just what an awesome person she is. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Sammy Knapp. I'm 45 years of law enforcement. I'm a pretty good judgment. I want to say a prayer for the families that they lost this weekend, the consul service and the DPS trooper. And thank you very much for your support.
Good evening, folks. My name is Jeremy Avanowski. I've entered the Congressional 3rd District primary to restore the Constitution to its original purpose. To quote President Trump, the only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Ask for your support, your prayers, and your vote in the Congressional 3rd District primary. Thank you.
Okay, just a word here, and that is simply this, that as I talk to you, our wonderful members throughout the community, one of the prevailing thoughts on your mind that you communicate to me always is the importance of election integrity. You know, it's kind of funny. If you think about the comments that I made a few minutes ago, and you think about the problems in this country today, and you think about how the leadership of this country is going about solving those problems, they're not. Their solution is to come out with their version of a voter integrity bill that allows the introduction of paper ballots into the system by the millions. And let me just tell you, there are 47 democracies throughout the world. They all have free elections. All of them has cast out the paper ballot, not the absentee ballot, but the paper ballot. And there's a reason for that, because paper ballots lead to fraud. And maybe that's the way some people think they can win an election. We have to make sure that doesn't happen. I know what's on your mind. You tell me about it all the time. And I just want to reiterate the thoughts and concerns that I have heard. There are a lot of different polls out there, but one that is well recognized is Rasmussen. The Rasmussen poll says that over 80% of the American people that were polled want election integrity. They want the voter ID card, and they don't want any mischief with the vote count. So I'll leave you with those thoughts as you get to meet our candidates. Make certain that you pick the right ones in your mind. At the end of the meeting, there are tables around the room with their names on it, and they will be there for you to visit with and talk to. So keep that in mind. Now, Joan will conduct our meetings with the candidates.
Good evening. It's certainly good to see you all tonight. Under a different format, I'm used to seeing the dinner tables, and we just felt it was better this way to put the third meeting, or the second meeting, well, the second of three in. And I'm going to ask the candidates who are running for the Constable Precinct 1 to come on up here. I wasn't at the beginning at the welcome door, so I'm not sure if everybody made it, but I do see some signs. Please come up and take your place. While they're doing that, yes, give them a hand. First of all, I would like to thank the candidates, actually all of the candidates in this room, for running. It's quite a commitment. It's a strong determination for service. So whether the folks who are running in the current, or the March 1st election, win or not, they should be commended, and they should and certainly deserve all of our respect, because it is such a commitment, and they earn our respect always, whether you agree with them or not. And I want to stress that point, because in my communication to all of the candidates, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be in front of you, I have indicated that they must speak about themselves, not about their opponents, and certainly not what they want you to believe about their opponents. I'm being very pointed, because we have very high standards in this club, I feel, and we strive to develop respect for all candidates. So tonight, you should hear a lot of information, each candidate speaking for himself or herself. And I also want to thank the audience for coming, and the same thing applies to you. We need, whether we have certain feelings about different candidates, we need to be assured that they're not projected vocally in our meetings. I want you to learn from this meeting, and it will help you decide which candidate you want to support. So keep that in mind, please. We have a very positive and good atmosphere. Tonight, we have the introduction, which each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce himself. After that, we have a series of 4 questions, and candidates, you probably saw the questions in front of you. We did not give the questions to the candidates, but we did send the general topics that the questions would be about, because 1.5 minutes for each answer is mighty short. So you have to have at least your focus kind of ready. And at the end, they will have 1 minute to give a summary and ask for our vote. Do you have any questions, candidates? Okay. We also have a bell. The first ring will mean that you still have 25 seconds to go, so you don't have to stop cold short, okay? And then 2 rings will be, that's it. And if you don't abide by the rules, I have a little toy. And it makes it looks very simple, shall I say, and not very impressive with sound, but it does make a loud sound. So we hate to use it, but if anyone strolls away from the rules, we use it. Anyway, enjoy the evening. I hope you leave here much more informed and in a good frame of mind. Thank you. Our timer for tonight is Mr. John Sefcik. He is doing the timing. You're really seated in that, in the order that you're going. Alphabetical order. Burns, Carpenter, Owen, and Trevino. Okay, so the first will be Ricky Burns, and you may stand, you can walk around, your microphone is there. I sure hope it does more than this one did. Do you want to test it? Does it? It should be set.
Can you hear me?
So, but it is good so everyone can see you all over. You can stand up and wander around or just stand there. All right, are you ready? Are you ready for your introduction? Well, when you start, we'll start timing.
Good evening. Again, my name is Rick Burns. If I could, real quick, I'd like to introduce my wife. She's back here in the back in the tan. So, we've been together for 26 years, and I do that for 2 reasons. One, next to every successful man is a strong woman. So I want to do that. The other reason I do that because it actually kind of embarrasses her a little bit. So I'm doing a little job there. So just a little personal life. Like I said, we've been together 26 years. We have 6 kids, 3 of which are foster children. We've had them for about 6 years, I think now. We have 5 grandkids. 4 of those grandkids decided to come last year all at the same time. So last year has been busy. We've been doing the grandbaby stuff and then campaigning, and I tell you, this last year has just gone by pretty quick. So professionally, I have 22 years of law enforcement experience. I hold a Master Peace Officer's license as a high certification in the state of Texas. I have 15 years of police management. I have a civil process proficiency certification that's issued by the state. I am currently with Constable Precinct 1 office, and I'm the chief deputy. I've been there almost a decade. I've been the chief for about 9 years now, and I would like to continue to serve you in that office. And I'm going to pass the mic. Thank you very much.
Hello, Heritage Ranch. How are we all tonight? I want to say first and foremost, we love my wife and I. My wife, Casey, I'm not going to make her stand, but most people here call her Mary Lou. Mary Lou, and I'll let y'all decide that. But we fell in love with Heritage Ranch. We've been coming here well over a year now. And at first, it's funny because the first dinner we had, we made such good friends. Lifelong friends, as a matter of fact. And the next dinner we went to, we haven't missed one yet, they moved us. And we didn't understand that. We said, wait a minute, we just made all these great friends, and you moved us. But every time we come, we meet new people. And we're honored and we're privileged to be here. I am Matt Carpenter. I run for Collin County Constable Precinct 1. I'm a third-generation law enforcement officer. I currently work as chief deputy for Constable Sammy now. And I want to take what we've built and what we've done in Precinct 3 and the professionalism that we're known for, and I am going to bring that to Precinct 1, but I can't do it without you. Heritage Ranch holds a special place in our heart, and I need all of your support, and your kids' support, and your grandkids' support. But I appreciate y'all, and it's good to see y'all tonight. Thank y'all for coming out.
Kobe Owen.
Hello, I'm Kobe Owen. I've been here a few times. One of the meetings I attend throughout the other organizations. It's always a pleasure to be here. Obviously, I'm running for Constable, Collin County Precinct 1. Born and raised here in Collin County. Been married 25 years, 24 years of law enforcement experience, and that's pretty much my biggest what I'm thankful for most is my family. I've dedicated 24 years to law enforcement. My wife's an educator, been teaching school for that whole time. My son's in the Air Force. He committed 6 years of his life signing that. My daughter's in nursing school, graduating in May. So my whole family is just about serving. And that's what I've been doing. That's what I intend to keep doing. With your vote, I'll be there. I'll make you proud. I will show up in uniform. I will work just like another deputy. And I've had people ask me, well, how many employees will you have? Well, I look at it differently. I'll have coworkers because I'm going to work myself. I'll have 6 deputy coworkers and 2 clerk coworkers. But given the time I've got, I'm about to get dinged again. You can go to my website, CobyOwen.com. Meet me afterwards. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. Thank you.
How's everybody doing tonight? Unlike everybody else, I wrote down what I wanted to say so I don't miss out. My name is Chris Trevino, and I'm running for Collin County Constable, Precinct 1. I'm a lifelong Collin County resident out of McKinney, Texas, and have been here for 47 years. My family came here in the 1950s, believe it or not. They lived right by the elementary school, right by Country Club Road, to the first right off the railroad tracks. My aunt still lives there. I'm married to my high school sweetheart that we've been together since we were 18 years old. And y'all know how old I am, I'm 47, so that's how long I've been, that's how long I've been with my wife. I have 4 daughters, 3 daughters, 1 son, and 1 granddaughter with 1 other grandchild coming. I've been in law enforcement for 20 years. That's a long time. During that time, I've been in various roles in patrol. I've been a supervisor. I've been on lake patrol. I've been on warrants. I've done bailiff. I've done CID, Criminal Investigations Division. Worked as an SRO, and now I'm still an SRO right now. I work for a local school district out in Fort Worth. I have about 600 kids that I got to take care of, and if I can't take care of 6, 7 people in an office, there's something wrong. But I know I can do it if I can handle these 600 kids and the staff and parents. I'm here to ask y'all for your vote to be Collin County Constable Precinct 1, and let's do this in March 1st, okay? Don't forget. I'm ready to serve, and I'm here to ask y'all for your vote. My name is Chris Trevino, Collin County Constable Precinct 1.
The first question is, how has the federal government's lack of border security impacted Collin County Constable duties? What will you do if elected to overcome these obstacles? Matt Carpenter, would you begin, please?
My goodness, yes. Let's be honest. Our government has allowed our border to be wide open. So when it comes to constable duties, there's two groups of people. There's people that know exactly what a constable does, and then there's those that have never met us. If you know what we do, usually when we circle in the neighborhood in our cars that says constable on us, you can spot the ones that know us because they go running. But it's impacted us. Our government has failed us. The state of Texas has to stand up, and it's going to take strong, conservative, Republican leadership from the bottom to the top to secure that border, working with our elected officials, some that are in this room tonight. But it has impacted us. I want you to think of all the landowners, property owners, that have squatters. We don't know their name. There is no identity. There is no driver's license. There's nothing we can identify them. But currently state law requires you to file an eviction case in justice court and identify those people. So that's just one way it has impacted us. The crime rate's up, transient rate's up. Constable Sam Knapp and myself will tell you we have them sleeping at our doorstep in Plano at Precinct 3. So it's going to take strong conservative Republicans to fix that. Thank you very much.
There we go, we're back in action. We all watch the news, we see the big picture of people sneaking across, and the other gentleman touched on it earlier this evening about human trafficking, the drug problem. Well, a lot of people just think, oh, well, they're bringing drugs. Well, it's more than the big fish, because then all the little fish that do the drugs, then they get into bad habits, whether it be theft, family violence, and it just goes on and on and on. So by catching the big fish, the little fish won't exist. So we have to work on the border. Obviously, we've been working on it for a long time. We got to work on it harder. And so by all that bad crime coming across into Texas, then we deal with it here as local police, sheriff. We have to serve the people. We have to keep them safe. If I'm elected, I will enforce all the laws, not part of the laws, but all the laws. Hope that answered your question.
Chris Trevino.
All right, right off the bat, the border's a complete mess. I have family that have ranches in Laredo on the border, so they see this stuff. They tell me about it. I haven't been back there forever because I just don't want to have to deal with all that stuff and, not knowing what could happen to me, not knowing what could happen to my kids while they're out there hanging out in Laredo. The border needs to be shut down. The governor needs to do a little better job of managing that. Putting our National Guard out there, do something. Because if not, I don't know how the constables deal with, the illegals, but I can tell you how us police officers do. We have to deal with them on the street every day, asking them for their driver's license, and they, no tengo. They're telling us they don't have their driver's license. But then you tell them, hey, did you drop that $10 bill? They look down. They understand exactly what you're saying, so they're kind of just playing the game. But I'm tired of it. I'm tired of dealing with, when I was on patrol, dealing with DWIs and stuff like that with them, killing people on the road and then finding out that they've been already deported a few times. We have to do something. We have to do it now. I deal with it in the school with kids that are in class that have immigrant parents that aren't here legally. So I have to deal with that. And the only way you have to deal with it, you have to put a constable in there that can actually relate to the people that come across that border so we can get it fixed. Right?
So it's not a secret that the border issue is an issue for all of us. We've all heard that there's not There's not any more border states. We're all border states. So it's not really a secret. Our biggest issue is the criminal element that's coming across the border. How does that affect us? How does that affect us right here at home? How does that affect the constable's office? So when you have the criminal element come here, it increases our jails, it increases our courts, but it also increases our victims. The victims are here. Collin County's taking care of those victims of all that element, all that nastiness that's coming across the border. And the constable office is involved in that. We're involved with the courts. We're involved with the service of the papers when we're out on patrol, and we're doing traffic enforcement. The other thing that we're doing is also doing the interdiction. We're looking for those signs, those clues that help us find those victims. So that's just some of the simple things that are that the office is doing, and we'll continue to do that. So thank you for your time.
The second question, what is unique about Collin County Constable Precinct 1 that makes you the best candidate for the job of constable? And the first person would be Kobe Owen this time.
Well, I've actually worked at Precinct 1. As soon as I got out of law enforcement, I took a job at a small town in Princeton. That's where I started out. And I was inquisitive, wanted to learn more about civil law. I became a reserve at Collin County Precinct 1, enjoyed that, and then I went full-time at Collin County Precinct 4. I got 11 years experience there at the constable's office, and then I currently do all the civil process and support services at the sheriff's office for Jim Skinner. I'm a people person. I help. I'll pull my own weight, and if elected, my staff will pull their own weight, and everyone will. There's not going to be anyone just looking for a retirement job. It's not a retirement job. If they want to retire, they can come work here at the golf course. So I'm not getting into it for the money. I started at the bottom, freshly married. My son was actually born when I was in the police academy, and my wife being an educator, neither one of us are in it for the money. We're in it because we're servants. That's what we enjoy doing, and I plan on doing it for many more years. I'm not looking for this job as a retirement job. Thank you.
Wow, what makes it unique? What could I make it unique? How about that I'd be able to represent 45% of McKinney District 1. When I ran for council, we found out we have 45% Hispanic voters or not voters in my district when I ran for council. So the uniqueness about that is if I'm elected, I can actually represent them folks, talk to them folks, get them folks help, and make sure that they know exactly what they're doing, not doing, let them know what they're doing wrong. I mean, how much more unique could it be? I'm Hispanic, fifth generation Texan, born and raised here in McKinney for 47 years. I mean, I could really sit in the office and help part of our community that needs the help, and not just a certain percentage of the community. I can help maybe turn some of these voters that are Hispanic to be conservative and not let the Democrats sit on that door first. But you know what? That's what's happening. But if y'all elect me, it won't happen, and I'll help get more conservative Hispanic voters here in Collin County.
So the first part of the question is, what's unique about Precinct 1? The youngest deputy that we have there has 19 years of experience. That's a lot of education, that's a lot of years that we have there. I'm already in the office, like I told you earlier, I'm the chief deputy. I've been chief for almost 9 years now, I've been in the office almost a decade. I'm already integrated in the office. I know every job duty in that office, from the clerk's position, and I really hate to say the clerk's position. We have two ladies that work with us. Their title is clerk. I don't like that name. But they actually, I'll be honest with you, they actually run the office, the ladies are great. But I know every aspect, every job duty from their duty all the way up to the constable's office. I know everything. I can sit at any desk, wear any hat at any particular time. So with the deputies that we have, like I said, 19 years was the youngest officer. We already know each other. We have great relationships. We have great working relationships. We know each other. We know how each other works. We can almost read each other's minds sometimes. It's kind of scary. But they need the leader that they have now. They need the leader to continue to serve you in that office. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Precinct 1 is unique. County seat. It's where government happens day in and day out. And yeah, we have government. We have courts in Precinct 3. In Precinct 3, we're well known. What are we well known for? Well, we're well known for our management. We're well known for our hiring, our policies and procedures that we worked so hard for to obtain. When Constable Sammy Knapp asked me to be his chief, it was a big undertaking. When I started there, we didn't have NDCs. We didn't have computers. We didn't have in-car cameras. We didn't have body cameras. And just so you know, Collin County Constables, every time we knock on a door, or every time we go to take property, we are inserting Collin County, all of you, into every lawsuit that is within Collin County. And so you have to know what you're doing. We're the only constable's office that has a training budget. So what that means is I'm under the training division, and everyone from across the state comes to our office to be trained. I want to take that. I want to take what I've built and what I've been blessed by Sammy Knapp to allow to build in Precinct 3, and I want to bring that to Precinct 1. Precinct 1 should be the shining example to all the other offices in the county. Thank you very much.
The third question, what changes would you make in the Precinct 1 Constable's office if elected, and why are these changes necessary? Begin this time, Chris Trevino.
What changes would I make? I'm one of them that I really don't know all the history about Collin County Precinct 1 now, but I think I'm one of them that if it's not broken, why fix it? You know, we're just trying to fill the one position, the constable seat, because Shane Williams is stepping down. Let's be honest, show of hands, how many of y'all know or knew what exactly a constable does? Be honest. Does anybody know what a constable does? There's not many hands raised, okay? That's what I would change. The problem is we can blame the constable for that. Not engaging with the community, not educating the community, and not being involved. You know, like I said again, these are Republicans that are supposed to be helping our county stay red. How's that going to happen if they're sitting behind a desk not doing anything? I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. The Democrats have been at every event in McKinney, and no Republicans at that event getting voters signed up. So that's what I would change. Engage, educate, and y'all don't make me forget my last one, but y'all heard me the first time. All right? Good one.
Ricky Burns, yes.
What changes? That's a big one since I'm there. I'm there now. What will you change? To be honest, like I just a second ago, our staff is amazing. I really don't know if I would change anything right off the bat. I want to continue to provide you with the service that you're getting now. We have a highly educated staff, highly experienced staff. I want to keep those individuals. I want to continue to provide them the training that they need so that they can remain highly educated, and we will do that. We have 2 instructors with our department. We have in-house training that we do saves us money, saves us tuition. Anything that we can disrupt, we seek from other agencies, other colleges, other academies if needed, to make sure that we're on top of the training so that I can provide you, or that we can provide you, with the highest educated trained staff that we can. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So everything starts from the top. My success as chief deputy, which is the highest level you can achieve until you're elected in the constable's office, is based on Sammy's success. If I'm not holding up my end of the bargain, then our office fails. And I let my constable down and he fails. And there's a change in Precinct 1. We can say stepping down, and call it whatever you want, but there's a change. And the voters demanded that change. So when you talk about changes, I'm not talking about getting rid of all the staff. I'm not talking about making those that are there unemployed, but what I'm talking about is from the top. It's management. It's building it up from the bottom to where we are down in Precinct 3, and it starts with good leadership, conservative, ethical leadership, and that's what I'm going to bring to Precinct 1. Thank you.
I'm familiar with some of the staff there at Precinct 1. Not to say that I'm going to make any drastic changes, but I can tell you what I will bring. Everyone there will pull their own weight. A lot of people, like you said, don't know what a constable does. A constable takes the same test as a highway patrol, a game warden, city police, your law enforcement. So many times you see on the news some of the other constables, other counties, they get a bad reputation because they're just, people call them a mailman with a gun. Well, it should be way more than that. We do traffic, roadside assistance. You know, if someone's broke down, they have a flat. I've changed a lot of flats in the last 24 years. Growing up as a mechanic, it's not that hard for me, but anyway. I'm not gonna make a lot of changes, but I will guarantee you that I will work and everyone under me will work. They will pull their own weight, they will act professional, they'll be courteous, and they will make the county proud.
Oh, wait. No. The next question. Some of our candidates alluded to training. This question has to do with training, and it has to do with the staff as well as the constable. What constable or constable staff on-the-job training or on-the-job behaviors, would facilitate a high level of success when serving warrants and civil papers such as subpoenas and temporary restraining orders? What kind of training ensures these behaviors? How adequate is the training in Precinct 1, or I should say maybe across the board in the different precincts? And the first person for this is Ricky Burns.
I said it a couple times, our staff that we have in Precinct 1 has 7 years. Out of all the full-time deputies, there's 7 of us. 1 deputy has an advanced certificate. The other 6 are master peace officers. So, what does that mean? I mean, to get those certifications, you have to have training. So some of the behaviors that they're asking is, you know, how do we treat the public? So right now, we have to treat everyone with courtesy and respect, and we do that. I've talked more people into handcuffs than I've had to put in handcuffs. You have to be able to have the ability to talk to people on several different levels from several different places. And we're going to continue to do that. Our training is top notch. We reach out to everything that allows to our job we do. For example, one thing is a couple years ago, the state required that every peace officer that bailiffs support must have a certification as a bailiff. Our agency created a class and hosted that here in Collin County, and every agency in Collin County that has a bailiff came to our training. We had 5 days of training for everyone. That's every agency. So we're going to continue to do that. Thank you.
Matt Carpenter.
Thank you, ma'am. So, you know, training is only as good as the trainer most times. Everything starts with your staff. I think you know that. I think most people in here have either owned businesses or managed businesses, but it starts with your staff. Now, I can tell you we're required to take civil process every other year. I can tell you it's mandated in our office, and we take it every year. I can tell you that Constable Sammy Knapp doesn't have to take it every other year, but he does. We take it as a team. We pride ourselves in going above and beyond the training schedule that the state provides, because we know from a day-to-day the impact it has on our people. And you know, you have to understand that we don't hire employees that are people persons. To do a constable's job, it's a lot different than the sheriff. It's even different than the municipal police department. You have to be a people's person. You have to be able to communicate, and you have to hold them to that expectations that we have to serve with honor and integrity. But training is key, and you can never train too much. Thank you very much.
I myself have a Master Peace Officer license. It's not easy to get. I did mine the hard way. So if you have college, it speeds up how quickly you get your peace officer license. I don't have college, so I've made my way through a lot of training to get where I'm at today. Some of the things I would like to change, because everybody, all 4 precincts and the sheriff's office and many other small cities, we all share the same dispatch. And I hear other agencies on how they do things. Well, doing a lot of rental possessions, that's where you've been evicted, and the constable or this deputy's going to come set your stuff on the outside of the gate. Well, that usually gets pretty wild. So a lot of times people go there by themselves. I've done it myself. Just a one-man show several times, hundreds of times over the last 11 years. I would like to see 2 people show up until you know that things are going smoothly. That's a big thing for me, is safety, safety, safety. I've been to other police officer funerals before. It's not fun. It's never fun to go to any funeral, but more or less a coworker, because maybe his other coworker was a little lazy and didn't watch his back. So I'm big in IDPA, USPSA pistol matches. I have friends that own gun ranges, and my staff will have access to all the gun training they want. I appreciate it.
I'm not gonna sound as good as they did. I'm just not. They made it sound a lot more funner. The state of Texas tells us what we're gonna take every year. Okay? There's no ends, there's no way about it. I have to have so many hours to make sure I keep up with my license. Okay? The way I've learned things nowadays and how I trained my officers or did briefings before they hit the street was what we saw in news media clippings. You know, I'd look, oh, you know what, this is something the officer needs to know about officer safety. Or, hey, you know what, this wasn't a good idea what this trooper did to this lady. I might want to train my officers that this is probably a no-no. So the state tells us what we're going to take. I have over 1,700 hours of training. And I can tell you a lot of us boring. Okay? But it's necessary. I'm still taking training. Okay? I had my advanced peace officer license. 2 more months, I'll have my master's, because I'll have the years that I need for full-time service that I should already have, but I decided to go for Apple. Shouldn't have did that. But like I said, my guys are going to be trained every year because they have to have the time. I'm going to teach them during briefing and tell them what they need to be doing and not doing. So that way we, you know, when you see other cops doing stuff they're not supposed to do, that's where we learn. That's where everybody learns. So that's the only thing I have to say is that everybody will be trained.
We are now now going to turn to the final minute. I know I did put 5 possible questions, but we do have my colleague on the board makes a very defined schedule, and I can see the clock. And I also want you all to stay here until the last person talks when we get to the Attorney General office. So we're going to not do number 5, but I'd like you to think about your final appeal to this wonderful group of voters in front of you. And the first person to begin will be Kobe Owen. Are you ready?
Once again, I'd like to thank you for having me here. A lot of my answers are repetitive. I'm not going to oversell myself. I'm just telling you who I am, what I got to bring, what I offer, and what I'll do for you. I'm thankful for everybody in Collin County. Like I said, born, raised here. Thankful for my parents for making it out tonight and raising me the way they raised me. I lead with a servant's heart, and I'm here to serve, protect. I'll give it my all. I enjoy it. I'm going to keep enjoying it. I do it because I love it. If I didn't love it, I would go do something else. I would probably make more money for sure. But I never got in it for the money. It's a passion of mine, and I'm just glad to be here and tell you my side of the story. Please look at my website for more information about me. I'll hang out later. You can meet me a little bit more. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
As you can see, I'm not the polished politician that some of these guys are. I have the years, 20 years of experience. I have 1,700 hours of training. I've been doing it for 20 years. Okay? I think I know how to do this job. And I'm here to ask y'all for your vote. I wish I would have been able to go and knock on each one of y'all door because I would have asked y'all, but apparently we're not allowed to come in without, you know, it being a meeting or something like that. So, but I would have did that. I would have asked y'all personally, shook your hand, talked to y'all about myself a little bit. But I got the hours, the time, the whole experience. And not only that, elected me, you would elect the first Hispanic constable in Collin County.
Ricky, it's your turn.
Gentlemen, I appreciate you tonight. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Rick Burns, and obviously I'm here. I need your vote. Early voting starts here in a couple weeks, and primary selection day is March 1st. And I really would appreciate your support in that election. I'll be back here, your left, my right, at our table back here with me and my wife. We'll answer any questions that you have. Feel free to stop by. I have some cards and stuff like that I can give out to you. Got a lot of information on it. And again, I appreciate your support here in the primaries. Thank you very much. Rick Burns for Constable. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joan, thank you so much for tonight. I appreciate you. Isn't she great? Thank you. Yeah, let's give it up for Joan. She never gets enough credit. Day after day, she comes up here and she's so polished, and she makes us all look good. Thank you. And thank you to the other candidates up here for being with me tonight. I'll tell you, my wife and I, we're blessed. And I told her, and she agrees, and Constable Knapp, and I've had this discussion. I'm going to work as hard as I can to be your next constable, but at the end of the day, it's in the Lord's hand. And I take solace in that. I want to be your next constable. I feel like I'm going to be, but I can't do it without your support. I'm a third-generation law enforcement officer, and if you're looking for a conservative Republican to run and represent Precinct 1, then I'm your guy. And I would appreciate your support. If you have any questions, please go to my website, or just come see me at the table back there, and I'll take care of you. Thank you all very much for being here.
On behalf of everybody, I want to thank all of you for the trying to run and to become our next constable in Precinct 1. And I wish you the best of luck in whatever happens. And thank you again. Please feel free to go and visit these fine people in the end. They each have a table, and you can get more information. Thank you again. when you leave now, would you take your sign with you? And I'd like to ask for, well, you don't have to take the little ones. I meant if you have a big one. You can take the little one. Sure, you can take it, and please do. And I would like to ask the next group of candidates to come up, which would be Mike Gould, Laura Trujillo-Jenks, and Lynn Finley. And I have to say, much to our disappointment, and we wish her well, Debbie Lytle is not able to come. Before leaving the house, she was running a temperature, and we know that need not be COVID, but no one should take that chance. So we certainly wish her well, and she will not be joining us tonight. So please come up. Yes. Bring your signs. Yes.
As they make their way up here, just imagine I'm Ben Brown. And it's a legislative report. You will see a lot of these signs in the neighborhood. You'll see them around the street. And Ben wants to let you know that we have an extremely long ballot. That gives you a chance to make many choices. It's 3 pages. There's 49 races and 87 candidates. The Democrats' ballot is 1 page, 20 races, and 41 candidates, mostly statewide. So this is good for us because local election starts here, and we should be able to do a great job. Where can you find the information to vote? 2 locations. The first is the Heritage Ranch Club site under March 1 election. We have voter registration and candidate information. We have voting times and locations. Also, on the Collin County Elections website is information. First day to absentee vote, February the 14th. February the 16th, 15th, we'll have a forum here for additional candidates. You need to vote in all races, from the first race on the ballot, which is the U.S. Congress, District 3, to the last person on the ballot. And we have Abraham George here tonight for Collin County Representative. Would you stand up, Abraham? Let's show the Democrats the strength and the depth of the Republican Party. One more announcement from our Mr. Ron Samuels, who is the director of our membership. He says, don't lay down, pay your dues. Joe?
Now we have the next group of candidates who will be running for district clerk. And as I said, unfortunately, Debbie Lytle is not here. So we will have 4 or 5 questions. It depends. We want to keep the evening moving rather quickly. And the same time frame, you'll have 2 minutes to introduce yourselves, 1.5 minutes to answer each of the questions. We're going on a rotation. And actually, I didn't really mess up, but the seating is a little odd. We'll have Lynn Finley, F, G, and T. So you will be 1, 2, and 3. But as you noticed, it doesn't matter because we keep shifting along, and everybody gets to be first and everyone gets to be last. So the first part we will have will be your introduction, I'm giving you a few minutes to think and collect. You can stand, walk around, do anything you want to convey to the public. Are you ready? Yes. So the first person will be Lynn Finley.
Testing, it is. Okay. Good evening. I'm Lynn Finley, and I'm proud to serve you as the Collin County District Clerk. I want to thank Heritage Ranch for hosting this event this evening, and I want to thank you for being interested in taking the time to learn about your candidates in these local elections. I am a native Texan. I'm from Fort Worth. I went to Tech. I have an undergrad and graduate degree in communications, and I went to law school in South Texas College of Law in Houston. I have been in Collin County with my family for about 25 years. We're raising our 3 children here, and prior to being the district clerk in 2016, I was an attorney practicing in multiple states, and I'm licensed in multiple federal districts, practicing corporate law and specializing in areas of employment and risk management and HR issues for corporations. As the district clerk, our office serves 75 employees, and we have a budget of approximately $5.4 million. Our office serves the district courts in keeping the records, the filings, the filing systems in place for all 13 district courts and for the magistrate court. And in order to do those kinds of things, it is important to have the understanding of the legal practice and the attorneys that we deal with on a daily basis in the office. Additionally, we do all of the jury service for all of the courts in Collin County, from the JP to the district courts. So with that being said, there are a couple of things I just want to say about this process and some of the people that I see here. The courthouse family and community has been tremendous over the last few years. We have invested in each other, we have grown to know each other, and we have done great things in very difficult times. And it's with those sorts of things in mind that I want to thank anybody that is here from the courthouse. I appreciate you being here and being a part of this process and working and serving the people of Collin County through these critical times over the last few years. Thank you.
Mike Gould.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Gould. This is my second time here. Last time I was here was in 2015. I ran for Collin College Board of Trustees, place 7. I didn't win that race. That went to Jim Orr, but he's a good guy. And I want to thank the Republican Party here at Heritage Ranch for having us out. It's a great event. It always has been a great event. It's a good room, too. My name is Mike Gould. I'm a Christian conservative resident of Plano. Now, sometimes I get a frown on that. I don't know what part it is. It's probably the Plano part, I would like to think, and not the Christian or conservative part. Member of Prestonwood Baptist Church. I've been in Collin County since 2000. Member of several clubs. I was a precinct chair for a while. And also, I worked on several campaigns. Everybody from Judge Arborough to I helped Tim Baker run his campaign when he ran for district clerk. Look, I'm running for this office because I'm a hard worker, roll up your sleeves kind of guy. I've also been a manager well over 15 years of managing people, systems, and processes, which is exactly what this job is. And when I say job, it's an everyday job. It's a job, you gotta go to work. You gotta roll up your sleeves, you gotta get in there with everybody, including communicating with everybody within the office. Now, I've got 25 years experience in radio broadcasting here in the Metroplex as well. So I always like to bring that out because why? I have a special style of communication. I'm a very direct guy, and I think that's what makes this a very, very unique office to run for. Because you've got to come out with direct answers. You've got to answer people. You've got to let everybody know what's going on. You've got to let your constituents know what's going on as well. I've always said, honesty is the best policy, and we all know that. And that's why I'm running for this office, is because I will bring honesty and integrity into this office. We'll get the district clerk's office back on track. I'd appreciate your vote. Early voting, of course, February 14th, March 1st, though. I'd like to have your vote. Mike Gould, I'm listed first on the ballot as well. Thank you.
Julio Jakes.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me tonight. I'm Laura Trujillo Jenks, and I'm a Christian conservative and a Christian conservative leader. I am at Texas Women's University currently as the interim chair for the Department of Teacher Education, which includes about 50 faculty, staff, and adjuncts, and about 700 students who are both undergraduate and graduate students working on their degrees. I have been in education for 30 years. In fact, this year is my 30th year. I have been in both public ed and higher education. I have been a special education teacher, a 6th grade teacher, a special ed coordinator or principal of a regional day school for the deaf and blind, an assistant principal, a principal, and a full professor of educational leadership, and now an administrator or leader at the university. I know how to work with different kinds of people, with different kinds of thinking and perspectives. I know how to get them to work as a team and to accomplish goals. And I will do that for you as the district clerk. I am married to my best friend, who is a law enforcement professional, 40 years worth, and who retired in 2020. Together we have 4 children, but even better than that, we have 6 beautiful, perfect grandchildren who are my world. I am not a politician, and I am ready to work hard for you as the next district clerk, so I would appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you very much.
We're into the questions. The first question is, in 2020, issues between the district clerk and the Collin County Commissioners Court became public. Which of these issues have been resolved? If any issues remain, what are your plans, if elected, to resolve them? And the first person is Mike Gould.
Thanks again. It looks like that's a good question, and it was a very public thing that happened between the district clerk's office and the commissioner's court. So I think we all know what we're talking about. I think what happened was there was very personal issues brought into that as well. Now I think that if you bring a personal issue into it, then you're going to have nothing but kickback from everybody that you're talking to. I don't think that's the deal. I think what you need to do is have transparency, be truthful, just let people know what's going on. When the Commissioner's Court asked direct questions, I think they weren't getting direct answers, and that's frustrating for anybody. And so that's what I would bring back to the Commissioner's Court, or that would open up that communication. Ask me a question, you get an answer. I'm here to serve you, the constituency. I'm not here to serve me. I'm not doing this for fun. I'm doing this because it needs to be done. So as far as any issues that are unresolved from the Commissioner's Court, well, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to step up and say, look, you can work with me. I'm the guy to talk to. What is it? Let's fix it. I'm a fix-it kind of guy. I want to go in there and make sure that everybody is communicating effectively and efficiently and getting the questions answered. Thank you very much.
The next person will be Laura.
What I know about the issues is what I have read from the different news sources online and from what I have learned from different constituents throughout the county. One thing I do know is I did not create the issues. So I have a new set of eyes and a new perspective that I can bring when working with the commissioners. And I do not have a leg in the game, if you will, or a dog in the race. I don't have any emotional ties or personal or professional ties to those issues. So working through those issues with the Commissioner's Court is going to probably maybe not be easy, but it's going to be collegial, it's going to be professional, and it's going to get done. Because the bottom line is everybody who is an elected official has a job to do, and that is to serve the constituents, in this case, of Collin County. So I am going to do what I need to do to have a great relationship with the Commissioner's Court and the county judge to make sure we get what needs to be done for you and to provide the services that you are entitled to. Thank you.
Lynn Finley, yes. Probably more knowledgeable to answer this one, right? Okay, I think it's very important to understand that we are a constitutional position. We have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of this state. And as a constitutional elected official, that's what we stand to do. And a lot of times that may necessitate resistance when it comes to certain efforts that are occurring outside of our office. We narrowly focus what we need to do in our office to follow our mandates and our core functions. And when somebody comes outside of a policy and procedure of the county or Public Information Act, something outside of the law, as an officer of the court and as an elected official and constitutional officer, I have to stand up and resist that type of behavior. That is my job, that is my function, and that's what you want me to do. You do not want me to be passive and allow people to do things that shouldn't be done for this office. You shouldn't stand for a magistration law that's under the executive branch. It is a judicial branch of government. It does not belong under the executive branch. There's a reason for the separation of powers. These are things that I brought before Commissioner's Court, and these are things that need to be addressed. But it is not something that is unusual. You have great elected officials in Collin County, and they stand up for their office and the values that you voted them in to uphold. And so I have to tell you, whether it's Ken Vaughn, upset with commissioners because he thinks he was blackmailed, or the constables arguing with the commissioners because they need something during budget, and they are not supposedly in the lane that the commissioners think they're going to be in, or the sheriff, or whoever it is that you've elected. We do take on the Commissioner's Court and the budgets and the issues and the way things are handled, because that's what you want us to do. That is our job, and that's what we're going to do for you. And it's these relationships with all of these elected officials that have allowed Collin County to grow and prosper and do things correctly and within the law. So you do want to make sure we stand up for what you've elected us to do. Thank you.
The second question. Should the Collin County District Clerk's Office process U.S. passports again? Why or why not? And Lynn Findley, you are the first person. Oh, excuse me, I did make a mistake. It's Laura.
The answer is yes, because there are 70+ people in the district clerk's office who know how to provide the passport services for Collin County. Out of those 70+ persons in the district clerk's office, they've worked with several of the district clerks who have been voted in over the years. Plus, there are people in there who have been working there for years. So they have historical knowledge of what has happened with the passport services, how we got them in the first place, what the application looked like, what the evidence and data was needed to ensure that we were doing it correctly and legally so that we can continue to offer those passport services. Not only that, there are persons in the district clerk's office now who know why we no longer have the passport services. So I would want to work with them as a team to discuss what is it that we need to do to bring those passports back. Because Collin County deserves to have that service so that we don't have to go to another county and give them our money and take the time to go again to another county. So yes, the U.S. passport services will be coming back. It may take some time, but they will come back. Thank you.
I'm going to tell you, as the district clerk, I'd like to see passports come back to the district clerk's office. But I also think it's important, since this has become such an issue for everyone, that you understand this is not a core function of the district clerk's office. And most district clerks do not do passports. In our office, we had approximately 30 passport acceptance agents where you go and you learn that. It's only a portion of people at one time that knew how to do passports in the district clerk's office. The issue of passports and the investigation that occurred after I took office had started 5 years before I took office. And it involved documents that dated back to 2010. It involved a gang creating false, fraudulent passports with an expediting company. It had nothing to do with Collin County. It had nothing to do with the district clerk's office or me as the district clerk. It was simply an investigation that had been done over a great period of time. We worked well with Consular Affairs. I have a great relationship with them. I was on the phone last week with Senator Cruz's office, and Cornyn's office, and Congressman Taylor's office. If you want passports back, you need the person that has the experience, who was there working with consular affairs, who would like to get passports back and can work with our legislators to make that happen. And that's what I can do for you, and I do hope we do eventually get that back. It is something that is going to take working with Passport Agency and Secretary of State to get that accomplished. Thank you.
First off, I have a question, is who here knew that the passport offices were under the district clerks? Anybody? That's part of the problem right there, is that there's a lot of unknown, there's a lot of people that don't understand that this is a function of the district clerk's office. And yes, it is one of those functions that when we're processing passports, we're doing about 40,000 a year, putting about $1 million into the general fund. That's not gone. And yes, I will be the diplomat, I will be the person to go back in, start those conversations right away, start that passport processing right away. And to make sure that it's done right, I want to open up satellite passport offices as well, so that we make sure that the far reaches of the county, which is a vast county out here, that they have access to that as well. I think it can be a good revenue generator. Not only that, but I know that the fact that the passport offices can be reopened with the right leadership. And I think that I am that leader. Go in, talk to the right people, the right offices, to get those passport offices reopened, and sooner, not later. But that should be a priority for this county, is to make sure we're offering that service to every citizen of Collin County. Thank you.
The next question. Collin County has taken pride in modernizing and improving its record system. With current expansion and advanced technology, what should now be done to raise the level of efficiency? What changes would you make in the district clerk's office if elected? And what are these changes, and why are these changes necessary? The first person this time, Lynn Finley.
Yes, Collin County is what Tyler Technology calls the showcase of technology for the state of Texas. We have implemented great technology over the years. Since I came into office, we went paperless on the e-filing system for all felony criminal cases. We have installed extra pieces on the NEMO queue so people can get services faster for what they need, and all those things were free. It was just ideas to make things faster for people to get to the clerks that they needed for particular functions. And so those are the things that we've put in place and we've been working on with the technology. One of the things that we're currently implementing is the new jury software. The concept of the new jury software was to make sure that we didn't have to grow infrastructure, get bigger jury rooms. We were able to communicate more with the citizens. We can text, we can call you, we can email you. It's that texting piece everybody loves. And those are the kinds of things that we continue to implement so that we can, as we expand and our courts expand, we do not have to expand the jury services administration. And so that is the function of the jury software. And the other new item that we're doing is online dispute resolution, which is something new we just signed, and we're excited to implement that to give people access to justice in real time from their homes. They don't have to take time off work, and they'll be able to work online for their cases. And the online dispute resolution is all about access to justice, which is a huge motivating factor here in the state of Texas for its citizens. Thank you.
I think one of the bigger problems that we're going to see, and this is because the county is growing so quickly, obviously, and so one of the biggest questions that have come up is, well, how do you keep up with technology? And I think it's already in place, and we're already growing that as far as the office is concerned. E-filing, of course, helps a lot. I think reaching out and having mobility, and obviously that technology to be able to file from no matter where you are is so important. But guess what? So is the security of that data. And we really have to focus on that to make sure that cyber attacks are held at bay. And not only that, but I think that there needs to be an independent panel within the office that's taking a look at that cybersecurity and making sure we're staying well ahead of the curve on that one. Because we're talking about documents that we do not want to have somebody bust into and just start pillaging through documents that should be secure at all times anyway. And I think that's why it takes oversight. It takes daily concentration on these filing systems to find out where the holes are, where the weaknesses are, and repair those before it gets too far off track. So yes, I think that keeping up with the growth of the county, making sure that the technology growth stays a factor, and also the mobility because of the reach and as far out as people can file. We want to make sure that stays viable for everybody that comes into the district clerk's office. Thank you.
So we're talking about the efficiency of the district clerk's office, especially when there's new technology brought in. Well, that is an easy question. What I would do to ensure the efficiency of the district clerk's office is, first of all, everybody in that office and I are a team. We are a team. We are team players. We collaborate together and we work together. Everybody in the office, including me, as God willing, your new district clerk, will know what is expected of them. What is their job? How do they perform it? Why do they perform it? And when do they perform it? They will get the professional trainings and opportunities to learn about anything that is new that comes into the office, such as the technology, and that improves efficiency of that person and of the office as a whole. I will have an open door policy, which means I'm going to be a transparent leader. I want everyone to come to me and let me know what's working, what's not working, and give me a solution with data and evidence on how to make things better for the district clerk's office. That increases efficiency. I want everybody to be recognized for a job well done, but for those that can't get there, who are just not pulling their weight, I will counsel with them, I will mentor them, and I possibly will counsel them out of the job if necessary after putting them on a growth plan. But the bottom line is, I will lead by example. I will be in the office daily, and I will do my job more than impeccably. Thank you.
The next question. How has COVID impacted the exercise of the office and duties of the district clerk? And that will be Mike Gould.
I didn't want to stand before you got to my name. Here's the thing with COVID, and we've all been impacted by it. Now, I missed a debate not too long ago because I had COVID myself. It was my first time to have COVID or be diagnosed with COVID since the pandemic started. When the pandemic shut everything down, I went to work every day. You know what I did? I trained my staff. I trained them on how to come to work every day so that they could function, they could make money, they could be paid, and we could be profitable. That's exactly what I would do. Is that in the face of crisis, we don't run away or shut down. What we do is we go and we stand in face of that crisis. We figure it out. We figure it out together. And not only that, but being the kind of leadership I bring into the office, part of that's training and ensuring that your people understand what's going on, communicating with them, educating them, letting them know that it's okay to be afraid. But at the same time, guess what? We've got protocols for this. And then now, especially, we've got the big protocols in place as far as social distancing is concerned, as far as sanitization is concerned, or anything of that nature. So as far as operating through the pandemic or with COVID, yes, I think it affected that. Not only that, but it affected the jury pools big time, because obviously you're going to have less people that are showing up for jury service because of that as well. So I think that now that we're past that point, we have to look forward and we have to say, look, what are we going to start doing now? Well, what we're going to start doing now is we're going to start making sure that everybody's safe. But that's by educating, talking about it, making sure that we're ahead of the crisis. That's what I did. I went to work and I trained people how to get through it. I didn't just stay home, or I didn't do any of that stuff. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to make sure that the staff is aware, trained, and ready to go. And then that way, if another crisis hits like this, that we're prepared for it. Thank you.
I had COVID, the flu, and a huge sinus infection over Christmas break, and it took me nearly 4 weeks to get over. And so now I feel for people when they tell me that they have COVID, because I understand now what it means to be that sick and what the recovery time looks like. That means the team that I'll be working with in the district clerk's office, I will want to make sure that they have everything needed to keep safe and to keep healthy and to feel good about coming to work. I will also work with HR and make sure that I understand what the policies are for flex scheduling, meaning if there are some who feel more safe in scattering the times when they come to the office and work from the office certain days and work from home certain days, as long as they're following policy and the performance doesn't suffer, I don't have a problem with that. As for me, again, I will be in the office every day, but if for some reason I get COVID again and I have to work remotely, then I'm going to make sure that everybody in the district clerk's office and anybody else in the other county offices knows where I am. They know how to contact me and that nobody feels left alone or left aside or out in the cold. I'll be able to do whatever I need to do and provide the services to all of you in Collin County. Thank you.
So being in office during COVID and the 2020 aspects of what happened, we are under the Supreme Court orders. We're not under executive orders, we're not under county judge orders, we are under the Texas Supreme Court orders. And those are still in place for a lot of things. And it did close or stop jury for a long period of time in 2020. And we did a lot of virtual Zoom type trials and those sorts of things with our judges and worked with them in aspects that we could. The interesting thing though is you worry about your family when something so unusual and a global pandemic happens, but then you look at your staff, you have over 70 people, they have families. How do we keep this mission critical functionality of our offices going uninterrupted? And so what we did is we implemented a remote work for half of the office in all high risks, and then half of the office that stayed in. It couldn't go back and forth. We couldn't every 2 weeks change. That's not possible. We take too much in regards to our computers that are not movable. But to take them home once, and then after a period of remote work, bring it home, that's what we had to do for our staff. We had weekly meetings by phone for everyone to keep them updated because the CDC and the Supreme Court were constantly making changes every week. We wanted to keep the morale the way it should be in our office, and it was. We didn't miss a beat on what our functions were, and our people felt safe. We had no hospitalizations, and we had no deaths. And that speaks volumes for our office, and it means a lot. Thank you.
We're going to take one more question, and I'm not sure to what extent this applies, but we'll be starting. The question is, how is your office involved in election integrity? Laura?
Well, we're going to be involved by supporting the Republican Party. And we're going to be involved by making sure that all measures to ensure that there is no voter fraud, no ballot trafficking, nothing that is illegal is happening at the polls. We're going to do what we need to do as a community also to ensure that the poll watchers are trained, that there is no stuffing of ballots, which in this state is a little bit difficult to do, but still, no stuffing of ballots, and to make sure, again, that we have an election code that we're going to follow, because it will help us to have a fair and fraud-free voter election. So that is what we will do at the district clerk's office. Thank you.
Well, I do know under the new laws, Senate Bill 1, there are some criminal offenses. So if it hits the felony level, they'll come into our courts and we'll handle those cases when it comes to election integrity. The only other thing I can tell you when it comes to the district clerk's office and election integrity is perhaps as an elected official, lifelong Republican, been involved in elections since I was little. I can say being out at the polls and early voting and on election day and watching how we handle elections in Texas and in Collin County specifically, I wasn't surprised that there wasn't a whole lot of election fraud or election concern or inconsistencies when they started doing the audits here at Collin County. And because you watch the polls, you watch the election judges, you watch how people conduct themselves, and it's very professional here in Collin County. And that's the way we can continue to make sure that occurs, is we allow those poll readers to, and the watchers to have more access. And that's what the new laws do. Our RNC has put together a committee on that. So I think as a Republican, and not just as the district clerk, we follow the RNC's committees on election integrity and the Senate Bill 1 through the laws that are now in place to protect our elections and our confidence in them. Thank you.
Mike Gould.
So I'm a big proponent on training, education, and has anybody here been to the elections website and watched the video on the new ballot system? Have you seen that at all? Anybody? Where you go in, you're basically going to insert a paper, and then you're going to select on the screen who you're voting for. It's going to print it out, then you're going to drop it in a box. So we've got kind of two systems going there, which is good, which is great. As far as election integrity is concerned, I was having that conversation with somebody earlier tonight. I said, look, if there's any question in an election, it's always the Republicans. So just know that we always got it. I think one of the things that we need to do is make sure that as far as voter education is concerned, definitely that's a bigger part of it. But also the oversight at the voting place, at the polling places as well. So I think the election judges need to be very diligent, be paying attention to what's going on as far as what's happening at the polling locations, so that they can watch, that they can make sure that the ballots are handled properly, and at the end of the night, everything is handled properly as well. So that everything, when it's tallied and it's all said and done, there shouldn't be a question, honestly. I mean, as long as we're out there being diligent and making sure that everybody's trained, and that's a simple thing. I mean, that is really a simple thing, that as long as voters understand how voting should work, then I think, obviously, with the ethical question of is there voter fraud going on, then that becomes something deeper that we should all be investigating on. Any elected official should be involved with that investigation, no matter what level you're on. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will have your summaries, and you have 1 minute. The first one will be Lynn Finley.
Again, let me thank you for staying this evening and listening to what the Office of the District Clerk is involved in as one of your constitutional positions here in Collin County. I am the only attorney that is running for this office. I have the legal experience to work with the courts, to work with all of our judges. We have great relationships with the attorneys and with the pro ses that come in, the citizens who need help when they come to the District Clerk's office. We are able to focus on those individuals, use the technology, because we have the experience over the last few years of how to do those things for the citizens of Collin County. So I would appreciate your vote. Early voting starts February 14th. I'm the only attorney, I have the experience, and I have the relationships. I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Well, again, the district clerk's office has so many facets to it. It's a very important office, but also it is a big managerial task. You have to be there managing that staff. You have to be there managing your department. And that's what my promise to you is. I'm a roll up the sleeves kind of guy. Get in there and get to work. Also work alongside your staff. Understand what's going on at every level. We need to know what's going on all the time and communicating back to the constituency what we know. Or what we don't know. We've learned those things as well. So I think what it comes down to is your district clerk. My main thing is going to be communication. I started out and I told you that I was in radio for 25 years here in the Metroplex for a reason. It's because I've got a voice. And I want to make sure that you as a constituent, as a voting member of Collin County and the Republican Party, you know what's going on inside the office at all times. Transparency is key to this office as well. We want to make sure that everybody has a fair shake in the district clerk's office. Thank you, and I hope you'll vote for me. My name is Mike Gould again, listed first on the ballot. Thank you.
I am a servant leader, and I know how to lead teams successfully. I have a record in both public education and higher education in doing so. I am a team player. I work with a team. I do not work with those people or subordinates. I work with a team to get goals met. It is God's will who's going to win this race, but I do thank you for inviting me here tonight, and I thank you for you staying and getting to know all of us. I am Laura Trujillo Jinks. I am running for district clerk, and I appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
I'd like to thank all of the candidates that are up here and wish you all the very, very best. Thank you very much for throwing your hat in the ring, and thank you for all the work you've done in the past. The next part are the Attorney General, candidates for the Attorney General. We have to do a little reorganization, but we trust that you will stay. You have to see the last part, so if you need a little stretch, but come on back into this room. And listen, we do have 2 of the 4. We also have 2 very short videos of the people who are not, were not able to come. So we will be expecting to see you sitting there very quickly. Would, yes, please come up. You're right. We'll get, yes, that's a good sign. We'll get you
Yes, that too.
Okay, good.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? We are. Please come and sit down. Excuse me, we are ready. I have to tell you one thing. We really have a jewel in the process, in the American political process. I have many friends and a husband, my husband's family from Europe, and there was one of our friends was here 1 year when the campaigning went on, and she was in awe at the way we interact with the candidates. And she was so surprised to see all the signs out in the road, and just our process was so different. She was from the Netherlands. I'm not, saying one is any better. It's the way it's developed through the years, but we are very proud of our economic process here. Our electoral process, I meant to say. And we should be. We try to give everyone a chance. So we're doing that tonight, as you see. And as I said, we are not a PAC. We do not support any particular candidate, but we educate our people. So tonight, we have 2 of the 4 candidates here. And we have 2 short videos, 5 minutes. They are getting less time than the people who are here, actually. So the first one that we're going to have is George P. Bush. And just to say, would you like to say a few words, brief words, only about, whatever he would like you to say?
I'd be honored. My name is Ryan McDermott. I'm the regional director for George P. Bush's campaign here in Texas for the Attorney General. And sorry he couldn't make it here tonight. He's currently in San Antonio for a meet and greet. He's kind of been on the road for the last couple of days, just going from town to town, just spreading why he should be the Attorney General. The reason why he's running is to help restore faith and to fully commit himself to the public service of the Attorney General and make sure that our borders are secure, our elections are safe and secure, and to ensure that your AG's office is committed to making sure that your service and to have faith in the office's inner workings. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Texas Land Commissioner George Bush. I'm sorry that I couldn't join you. As you know, we're traveling throughout the state of Texas as part of our Texas First Tour, but I really appreciate the opportunity to visit with you via video to talk a little bit about our campaign for Attorney General, the top cop in the state of Texas. It's hard to believe that Amanda and I packed up our bags, moved down with our boys, Prescott and Jack, who are 8 and 6, to a community that we used to know and love as law students here at the University of Texas. But we've seen the dangerous consequences of liberal progressive ideas at the city level, the county level, and the harm that it causes to a community in short order, starting with the defund the police movement, which has put a target on the backs of our law enforcement officials in the city of Austin. And in short order, we've seen a spike in violent crime and the highest rate of homicides that you will see in recorded history in the city limits of Austin. During the pandemic, when it broke out, we had a liberal progressive mayor with overnight signatures of the pen shut down small businesses, bars, restaurants, saying that he knew better about the future of our state's economy than small business owners and free choosing consumers. And we've seen these full-scale, wholesale indoctrination of our children in the public school systems of Texas. And it starts in the city limits of Austin. But I'm also proud to tell you that at the state capitol, it's been Republicans that have stood firm, drawn the line, and said that basic healthcare decisions, whether it's wearing a mask or being vaccinated, needs to be the choice of the individual and by the families in the hearts and homes of our people in Texas. We've said that nothing is more important than a parental choice when it comes to the future of our children's education. And we've said that business owners need to have that flexibility and that we're always open in our state and that we will never close down churches ever again on our watch. And so that's why I'm running for Attorney General, because we need to not only punch upwards and confront the dangerous ideas of the Biden administration, but also punch downward toward liberal progressive mayors that are standing and defying freedoms that you and I take for granted at times as Texans. And yes, we've seen in the last 7 years many Californians and people from around the country, and regretfully they've brought their politics and are attempting to change the politics of the state. I want this opportunity to visit with you about what my platform is and what I'm going to focus on as your next Attorney General. First and foremost is securing the border. I think as elected officials, when we swear to uphold the laws of this country and of the state, that includes public safety, and the public safety of Texans is under assault. Whether it's in border communities in the south or along our 35 and 45 corridors, where we've seen an extensive narcotics and human trafficking spike, and it's unacceptable, and we need somebody that's focused on the job. That's why I couldn't be more pleased to have the endorsement of the National Border Patrol Council, the most important union that represents the agents that keep the watch every single day. They know I'm going to be tough on the border cartels. They know that I'm already in the courthouse against the Biden administration. And they know that I'm going to build the Texas wall. If the Biden administration is not going to do their job and spend the appropriated dollars to build the Trump wall, I will step into the fold as land commissioner and build Texas wall on my watch. Second, we're going to address accountability. We need an attorney general that's looking over the shoulder over deadbeat, progressive DAs that refuse to do their job, that aren't prosecuting narcotics and violent crimes and being soft on criminals, but hard on police officers. So accountability is going to change on my watch as the next AG. Third, we're going to confront human trafficking in a new and unconventional way. This is a scourge on our society as Texans, with now Houston known as the #1 hub of the trade, and Texas now a leader competing with California. That's going to change on my watch. I will go to the Capitol, just as I did this past legislative session, to work side by side with human trafficking survivors to tell their story, because they don't have lawyers and lobbyists. They don't have that voice. It seems like every other powerful interest in this town does, but not the survivors, and that's going to change. Finally, we're going to back the thin blue line in Texas, more than just with words, but with action. And that means taking on the cities that are defunding the police, protecting qualified immunity, legal protection afforded our police officers. So in closing, I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your support. Please check out my website and my social media channels, where you can learn about my vision, my specific ideas as to how we can transform our state, this agency, restoring trust with law enforcement, with local county government, but most importantly, the people of Texas. So I thank you for your consideration. Thank you for your involvement in the conservative cause. May God bless each and every one of you, and may God bless the great state of Texas.
The next, we're going to have the second video, and then we'll get on with our two wonderful candidates that are sitting here in front of you. The next video will be introduced by Angela Paxton. You want to say a few words? Yes.
Hello. I appreciated Mr. Bush giving a shout out to my bill that churches can't be closed anymore. Thank you. I appreciate you being here tonight, and I'm honored to have an opportunity to speak on behalf of Ken, who's not able to be here tonight. I'll talk about that. But some of you are wearing Pistol Packin' Mama, Angela Paxton Pistol Packin' Mama stickers tonight. I found this roll in the closet today, and as I was thinking about tonight, I thought it was appropriate because this is actually from before I was your state senator. And of course, this is home for us. Ken and I both live here in McKinney. He represented part of Fairview when he was in the House, and of course as your senator. But I wrote a song when Ken was in his second year as Attorney General under Obama. And the name of the song was I'm a Pistol Packin' Mama and my husband sues Obama. So you can find it on YouTube. But anyway, as you know, under the Obama administration, we experienced an assault on the rule of law like we never had before. Ken sued the Obama administration 27 times in 27 months to fight for the rule of law. And then he got a brief reprieve under President Trump, but I can tell you that it's gotten even worse, as you know, under President Biden. Ken has already sued President Biden 26 times in 1 year. Ken is not able to be here tonight because he is at the Republican Attorneys General Association. They meet periodically to strategize together, to collaborate in how to push back against the rule of law. He's the two-time chairman of that organization, and he revolutionized the power of the attorneys general to stand against the rule of law. I know some have brought up the fact that he's under attack by Biden's Department of Justice. Well, let me ask you, if you were Biden's Department of Justice, which Attorney General would you go after? Ken's working hard for you, and I can tell you it's come at great personal cost. It's one thing to say what you would do. It's another thing to do it with the gun of the Department of Justice at your head. But he has, and he will. And I can tell you, I know who I'm voting for Attorney General of the state of Texas. The guy that's delivered the goods. Thank you.
Are you ready? Yes.
Well, good evening, Heritage Ranch. I am so sorry I'm not with you in person. I'm actually meeting with many of the Republican Attorney Generals across the country to deal with many of the issues that you see every day. We meet on a periodic basis to strategize, and I think you can see some of the results of what we've done. And of course, you know that I represented your area and Heritage Ranch when I was in the Texas Senate. You've obviously upgraded with a better Paxton. I know she's there tonight, and I want to thank her for being there. I wanted to quickly tell you some of the things that we've accomplished in my term as Attorney General. I think it's really easy to talk about what you're going to do in a job, but I think you should first look at people's record. What have they accomplished? And does that record match what they're saying they're going to do? So I think whether you're looking at other candidates in this race or whatever race you're looking at, judge people based on what they've done, not what they say they're going to do. And so that's where I think my strength comes in. So as we look at this going forward, we need to take a look back. And over the last 7 years, we obviously were involved in 27 lawsuits with the Obama administration. We were successful in over 80% of those cases. We, I think, changed the course of the world. President Obama was literally trying to control everything from the executive branch, and we were very successful in stopping him in all types of different cases, particularly as it related to the oil and gas industry and affecting our water rights and our property rights. We were able to stop him cold. And those were complicated cases that we were very successful in. And I think we thwarted much of what he tried to accomplish as President of the United States and kept this country from moving from a constitutional form of government to one that was controlled by a president. Here we are, many years later, dealing with the Biden administration that has been even more aggressive as it relates to federal overreach and abusing the Constitution. We sued the Obama administration 27 times in 27 months. We are already, after 1 year, already in 26 lawsuits with the Biden administration. We've been even more successful. Successful in over 90% of our cases. I think you can see some of the results of those from the 7 immigration lawsuits that we've had, trying to force the Biden administration to follow federal law. We have not lost yet on one of those cases. We've also been involved in the vaccine mandate cases. We've been fighting for freedom because if the federal government has the authority to tell an employer that they have to tell an employee that they have to choose between their job and their health, there's literally nothing the President of the United States can't tell you or some agency. And so it's more important than even the individual issues. The issues that we're fighting on are really fundamentally about the Constitution and about freedom. And that's why this job is so critically important, because not only do we lead these cases for the state of Texas, but you will notice that Texas is a leader for the nation. And other attorney generals look to our office to decide what to do. And it's often that we are in the middle of the fight, whether it's these cases related to Biden or whether you want to talk about election integrity. There's no other state doing more to protect your elections. We fought in the courts to try to stop what was going on at the national level. We also fought off 12 lawsuits that were trying to change the mail-in ballot laws in the state of Texas. Had we not been successful, we would have been just like Georgia, we would have been just like Arizona, we would have been just like these other states that counted votes for 3 days. We were successful in winning 12 straight lawsuits. We didn't lose a single lawsuit. Had we would have seen the very same thing that happened in Harris County that happened in these other states. And so we have focused on protecting your right to vote. So let me just end by saying that I think it's critically important to focus on this election. I'm running again because I really felt like this was a critical time in our nation's history, that we needed to have people fighting from Texas that knew what they were doing, that had experience, that had the ability to go take on the Biden administration and do it successfully. I think we've demonstrated that in the first year, and that's why I'm running again, because I think it matters that we win these fights now, because if we don't win now, if Texas is not successful now, I think we're going to lose this country. I think we're going to lose our freedom. We're going to lose the Constitution that our founders put in place, and this is not going to affect just our children or grandchildren, it's going to affect us. So let me encourage you, as you think about who you're voting for Attorney General or for any other elected position in Texas, you should realize that this is a critical election. What you need to look at is, do they have the experience to do this? What have they done in the past? And not just what their rhetoric is, what is their record? And if you look at my record, compare it to any Attorney General across the country, compare it to any Attorney General before me, I don't think you'll find anybody that's fought more for the cause of freedom, more for the Constitution, and more for you. So God bless you tonight. Thanks for having this forum. Thanks for letting me do this and still continue my job as Attorney General, fighting for you and organizing to continue to fight the Biden administration's overreach and their violation of the Constitution. God bless, and thank you all for having me.
Justice Eva Guzman. She has been, and until very recently, until the election, I guess, started, on the Supreme Court of Texas as one of the justices, and Congressman Gohmert, whom you've heard about. I told him I heard a lot about him, but I've never seen him. So it's our privilege to hear from these two candidates tonight. We'll start off with your introduction. All right, are you ready? 2 minutes to introduce. Incidentally, I realize that we have given the two gentlemen running for Attorney General 5 minutes to introduce themselves, but that's all they get, and they get it through a screen. It's much more powerful if you're here. So, we will move on. Okay, you're on. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Joan. Thank you for this forum. Good evening, everybody. I'm so honored to be here tonight. I, too, had other places that wanted me to be there, but I chose to be here with you. This is the epicenter of the battle for the future of Texas, right here in this room. I'm Eva Guzman. I had the great privilege and honor of serving you on the Texas Supreme Court. That job was the honor of a lifetime. Every case Ken Paxton talked about filing in the Supreme Court of Texas, as one of 9, I've decided whether he was right or wrong. He said you should look at experience. I invite you to look at experience, but I invite you to look at something else. We work for you. When we hold public office, we must walk in integrity. And the day we don't, you need to fire us. We work for you. Texas is hiring a lawyer. There's a lot at stake. I'm married to a Houston police officer, a 37-year veteran of the Houston Police Department. Thank you. Back the Blue has become a photo op and a slogan for politicians. For me, it's been my way of life. I know what it's like to stand up for law enforcement. And I'm the daughter of legal immigrants. I know the devastation caused by open, porous borders. I will secure the borders. You have my word. Ken Paxton mentioned his lawsuits. Let's talk about 2 of them. For the first time in a decade or more, we had a chance to overturn Obamacare. He took it up to the United States Supreme Court and lost on a legal technicality called standing. Justice Clarence Thomas said, this is not the court resurrecting the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. This is the court deciding the claims the plaintiff chose to bring. He lost it. The Keystone Pipeline, last week, the judge, Ken Paxton, led that lawsuit too. that was dismissed by the court on a technicality. Higher experience, thank you. I'm so glad to be with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Congressman Gobert. And the first ding is a warning. You have 25 more seconds. And the 2 dings is it's finished. You wouldn't want to hear my horn.
One thing I've always been about is fairness, and there was no mention in the rule you could have a surrogate. There was no mention in the rules you could have a video and talk for 5 minutes. None of that was mentioned. So it is easier to have 5 full minutes instead of breaking up into 2 and 1.5. So I encourage you to change the rules or follow the rules we got, so that next time you'll have all of the people here live like Eva Guzman and I. Because we wanted to see you face to face. We wanted to talk to you face to face. And let me tell you, AG was never on my scorecard, my dance card. It was not something I looked at. But it was clear we needed a change. We needed a fighter who was going to be there and not be distracted by personal things. And yes, it was mentioned of the lawsuits. Let me tell you, I got a call from the AG in Louisiana who said, you know, we need a state to sue the swing states for changing election laws by other than the governor or secretary of state. And we don't want Texas to file it, because your governor changed some of the laws. So if Texas filed it, it'd be thrown out one way or another. 2-3 days later, it was filed by our Attorney General. It was doomed when it was filed because we didn't have clean hands, but the narrative needed to be changed, and that's why it was filed. Look, I have a lifetime, an adult lifetime of experience, even in Congress. Continue hearings, cross-examination. That's what I did. I was in the Army 4 years from scholarship at A&M. I did go to Baylor Law School. I have been a prosecutor, assistant DA. I've been a litigator in state and federal court. Nobody in this race has litigated as much as I have before I came to the bench and then Chief Justice of the Court of Appeals. Look, there's one reason I left what people said was a sure seat in Congress to come make less money, and it was because Texas is in danger. Our election laws were not properly enforced, and we do need to have paper ballots that are sequentially numbered, just like the law said. That did not get enforced. If I'm AG, it will be enforced. And we've got over 750 lawyers in the AG's office. We got 254 counties. Put the lawyers in every county to make sure that the laws are being enforced, and if they're not, they get an immediate injunction, because there was cheating in this last election in Texas. And it's getting worse, and we got to have somebody that's going to step up and stop it. I will.
We give a warning bell, and then the bells, the double bells, are the stopping point. The first question. The recent ruling by Texas Court of Criminal Appeals prohibits the Attorney General from investigating and prosecuting election law violations. How will this decision impact the Attorney General's office going forward? What can and will you do, if elected, to uphold the laws of Texas concerning violations of election law? Congressman Gobert.
Good. Thank you. Like I said a while ago, we need somebody that's a fighter that's going to make sure the laws are enforced. We need somebody that's going to do a better job before the Court of Criminal Appeals issues some stupid ruling. And if you read it, you go, where did these people study government? What do you mean you can't
you can't enforce the law if you're a part of the executive branch. That's who prosecutors are. So anyways, every 2 years, we get a chance to replace 3 justices from the Court of Criminal Appeals. They're the least known justices or statewide officers elected. We got to start turning some of them out so we got better people that know a little more about government than what we got in that opinion. In the meantime, there has been a motion of rehearing filed, thankfully, and a lot of us are weighing in and trying to make sure the Court of Criminal Appeals knows how ridiculous their opinion was. Yes, the AG does have authority to enforce election laws, but in the meantime, we need to have, one of the first things the legislature does next time is make it clear where even the Court of Criminal Appeals can't get it wrong. Yes, here's the law. I think it'd be a good idea to have an amendment to the Texas Constitution. I also have been encouraging some of our legislators, we need an organized crime statute, like similar to what the feds have, so the AG can go after corruption, whether it is the drug cartels that are setting up in our cities, including around the Metroplex. They've got the drug cartels have drug trafficking going on, sex trafficking going on, human trafficking going on. The border's got to be secure. So the election integrity is absolutely paramount. If we don't get that right, we lose the republic. So we got to change the election laws, make sure that's clear. We got to have better people arguing at the Court of Criminal Appeals. Get some legislation changed, but you're going to see aggression, and that means lawyers in every county on election day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Justice Guzman.
Let's talk about the Court of Criminal Appeals decision. You've got 9 Republican justices. They took this 1876 Constitution and turned it on its face by concluding that the Constitution did not authorize the legislature to empower the Attorney General of the state of Texas to execute such powers and duties as are necessary. To fix it, Ken Paxton has filed a motion for the court to reconsider. He lost that case. Courts may grant reconsideration. The other answer to that is to go back to the legislature. If we need a constitutional amendment, that's what we get. The Attorney General has to have authority to protect the most important thing to our republic, our votes. And I would work with the legislature to either get a constitutional amendment on the ballot or to change the law. And let's talk about experience. The Attorney General is your lawyer. I'm the only candidate running that has served at 3 levels of the Texas judiciary. I've handled criminal law cases, civil law cases. I've stood in the arena as a lawyer, and I've ruled on thousands and thousands of complex constitutional law questions. No one is better prepared to do this job on day 1 than me. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, and it will be done, the first person answering will be Justice Guzman, but I'll read you the question. The Biden administration and the federal government have demonstrated a contempt for the U.S. Constitution, in particular Article 4, Section 4. The United States shall protect them, the states, against invasion, and the 10th Amendment, which retains powers for the states and the people. What other suits would you bring against the Biden administration and the federal government to protect the U.S. Constitution and the state of Texas, and why would you bring them?
The U.S. Constitution protects us. And it protects us from what's going on at the border. If you visit my website, evaguzman.com, I lay out a plan for the border. That includes suing Joe Biden to continue to build the wall. It includes changing the law so that the Attorney General has the power to prosecute felonies committed by illegal immigrants. We need to come into those counties where the DAs refuse to follow the law and prosecute. In other states, the Attorney General has that power. Some of you have shared that you've seen my commercial. It's a very sad part of my life, but for God and our faith, it could have destroyed my family. My father was murdered by an illegal immigrant. He was never brought to justice. Anyone can commit a crime, but when you're here illegally, can't find you, can't bring you to justice. I grew up in the justice system, as you just heard. I'm going to secure that border because it threatens everything that forms the foundation of our republic, the state that we love. This is our Texas, and they can't come and take it. No way.
Yeah, I've been talking about Article 4 of the U.S. Constitution for a good while now, because it is the federal government's guarantee of a Republican form of government, little r, and freedom from invasion. Now, over 100 years ago, there were maybe 4 dozen or so Pancho Villa's guys crossed over into the U.S. There were some people killed, not near as many as fentanyl coming from Mexico kills, but killed, and Woodrow Wilson sent General Pershing into Mexico, chasing after them, killed some, captured some. We don't have to send anybody into Mexico. We have just got to secure the border. And yes, I know the Supreme Court, in an opinion that needs to be revisited, said Arizona state and local law enforcement could not enforce immigration laws. But they surely assumed that the federal government would live up to its guarantee to protect us from invasion. Because I don't know how many makes an invasion, but it's sure less than 2 million people a year. We are being invaded. That's an invasion. And we have every right to stop it. Now, one of our problems has been the wall is not right on the border. And a problem is that when someone who's not an American comes across and put 1 foot on Texas soil, they're an immigrant, whether legal or illegal. I know the governor sent people down there, state troopers, National Guard, but we need to send them down there and not let anybody put a foot on Texas soil. They're not immigrants. Go around through the immigration services, the federal government, but you're not coming on our soil otherwise.
The next one is the beginner, but the question is, the Texas state, oh, excuse me, I have the wrong one. The Texas District Judge John Stouffer, District 345 in Travis County, recently ruled that Operation Lone Star was unconstitutional because it tries to supersede federal immigration law regarding the criminal prosecution of trespassers on private property in Texas border counties. What would you do as Attorney General regarding this court decision that significantly impacts border security?
Thank you. And that was a Texas district judge. I've been a district judge. I've been a Chief Justice of the Court of Appeals. And there are some district judges that don't know what they're doing. And so that's fine. That's why we have appeals with deference to that opinion. But that's also kind of following along the U.S. Supreme Court's decision. You can't enforce immigration laws. However, enforcing trespass laws is not enforcing immigration laws. We have every right to enforce trespass laws. I've spent all night on the border numerous times, but once during the day, I was sitting in Ansel Lewis Park down south of McAllen, and there were 4 different times when somebody paid a guy on a jet ski to bring him across from the Mexico side and drop him off at the park. And each time the constable would go over and arrest him. So I eased up to him at one point. I said, I'm thrilled you're arresting these guys, but since the Arizona case, what are you using as a basis? He said, did you pay $4 to get in this park? And I said, yes. So they didn't. They're trespassing. Yes, we can enforce Texas law on trespass, and that'll go up to the court, and they'll find out, absolutely, that's state law.
Is anyone surprised that a Democrat district judge in Austin found Operation Lone Star unconstitutional? No, I'm not. And that's why you need an attorney general who has experience. Congressman Gohmert has served us in Congress for 17 years. No one knows how important it is to have lawyers on the front line, a real lawyer. One who's been in the courtroom, one who's kept up with the laws. I've done that. Operation Lone Star, you go back to Article 4 and the invasion. There's no one profiting from what's going on at the border other than the cartels. That's it. That's it. That's it. The human suffering is widespread. But we're a rule of law society. We're compassionate Americans. We want people to follow the law the way my parents did. That's all we ask, follow the laws. And I'll sue Joe Biden to force him, under Article 2 of the Constitution, to take care that the laws of the United States are enforced and that they're upheld. He's not doing that. Those are the types of lawsuits I would file. I would lead a team of lawyers. I know how judges think. I've been one for 22 years. I know how courts process complicated legal issues. I've done it for 22 years. I know how to lead teams of lawyers. I've hired the brightest minds in the country to help me on the Supreme Court of Texas and on the Court of Appeals. This is the kind of expertise you need. There's too much at stake. And we, you and I, stand between socialism and the republic we love.
Question number 4. The Texas State Legislature and other Republican state legislatures have delivered anti-abortion legislation. Some have gone to the Supreme Court, while others are still on the way. What else should be done to result in the overturn of Roe versus Wade?
For the first time in over 50 years, the Supreme Court of the United States is poised to either overturn or significantly curtail Roe v. Wade. Life begins at conception. Just does. Roe v. Wade was wrong when it was decided. There's no textual support in the Constitution for Roe v. Wade. There's no structural argument that can be made. Scientifically, the science that the Roe v. Wade decision relied on is flawed. We know there's a heartbeat long before, and thank you for that legislation, we know there's a heartbeat long before Roe v. Wade says there is. So we are at a time in this country when I believe it's going to come back to the states. And you're going to need an attorney general who's fully prepared. Someone who's not distracted. And John Adams said, facts are stubborn things. And it is difficult to speak the truth, but we have to speak the truth in this context, when we have to call out the differences. But we must. You deserve to know, and you deserve better. I will always fight for life. You have my word.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a great opportunity, and I've struggled, reading as a kid about how couples would take their child to idols with flames and burn their child as a sacrifice. I thought that is so outrageous. How could they be so cruel? And then in our lifetime, tens of millions, going towards 70 million babies have been sacrificed for convenience because they're unwanted. If you believe in God, you know that a good God has got to get upset about the most innocent and helpless among us being brutalized, especially in the late-term abortion. So I'm grateful that because of the actions of so many, we may be getting close to the end of those sacrifices. But we're not there yet. And so it's going to continue to take work. The Heartbeat Bill is a great step forward, and I think any of us would have been defending that to the max, and we'll see good results, I think, from that. But this is the kind of thing that will bring an end to a civilization if it's not stopped and there's not repentance for the sorrow for the innocent blood that's been shed. It's got to stop, and I believe with all my heart, if we do that, the God of grace and mercy will give us a chance to continue this little experiment in self-government. That's a big part of why I'm running. Thank you.
The last question that we have for tonight, several Texas district attorneys have declared they will not prosecute certain crimes under a property theft below $750. What should the Texas Attorney General do about the district attorneys who willfully do not uphold Texas laws? Congressman Gohmert.
And that's such a good question, because it's a huge problem. You know, our 4 biggest counties in Texas have DAs that are not going after laws, not pursuing crimes against laws that we have on the books. And that is going to destroy us. You've got to enforce the law across the board. When Rudy Giuliani started the no broken windows doctrine, and so they enforced every little law, then it was incredible how they got rid of crime in the city. But it's growing and it's becoming a problem. We've seen that pendulum swing back and forth, and now that pendulum has swung in the direction of the drug cartels and the criminals, and it's got to stop. So we are going to need a fix from the Texas legislature to make sure that the Attorney General can pursue crimes and stop crimes when the DA just simply refuses to. And you can't help but wonder, wait, these are crimes being committed. Everybody's aware of it. Is somebody profiting from this? Is this a form of organized crime? How far does this go? Well, we're not going to get a fair investigation from this United States Department of Justice. It's going to have to come from the Texas AG. So we'll need help from the legislature to make sure the AG can come in like a Texas Ranger in the realm of law enforcement and say, I'm here, we're going to see the laws enforced.
I watched my husband for the entire time we've been married, 34 years now, put on his uniform, go out into the streets, put his gun on, and he'd come home, and he never talked to me about what went on at work. And we know our police officers risk it all. They walk into danger when the rest of us run, because we should, because they're there to protect us. And so to have this lawlessness where district attorneys refuse to prosecute crime, and you know who else is complicit in that? Judges who refuse to follow the law. Is there anything more destructive than a judge who won't uphold the Constitution and the rule of law? I think not. We're in a battle for the future of Texas. We're in a place in certain cities where I grew up, in Houston, where you can't even eat at a restaurant. A police officer was shot eating lunch by a guy that was out on bond. We need to keep this state red. We need to elect people who can get up and talk about crime without the distraction of their own situations. We need to elect people who bring the experience to make it happen, to be the difference, to be the change that we want to see. Thank you.
Now for the final minute from our two fine candidates here. And I want to remind you that do we not have our drawing? Oh, we don't. Oh, well, then I can't remind you of that. But I do remind you to stay until the end. and then visit the different tables and collect a little more literature. So let's hear the final appeal, and Justice Guzman, you're first. So, no, 1 minute. I only get 1 minute, so let it go.
Well, I'm tough, I'm smart, I'm hardworking. I worked in a factory, and I went from that factory in Houston to standing before you as a candidate for Attorney General. My family believes in public service. My husband's father was captured in World War II and came home to his family. We love this country. When I hear the song that we heard, I'm proud to be an American, where I know I'm free. I will fight to continue to restore, to honor all of those who sacrificed so that we could sit here tonight. Are there veterans in the room? Would you stand? Let me give some of my time to honor you. Let's honor our veterans tonight, please. Thank you for your service. God bless you. God bless Texas. I'll be standing right over there. EvaGuzman.com. I love this Texas and I want to work for you. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity, and thank y'all for coming out. I did want to see y'all in person, see you face to face. I think most every attorney general in my lifetime from Texas has wanted to be governor or something like that. I don't. I'm wanting to shore up Texas by enforcing the law. I don't see ever running for anything after this. I may run for a second term. I can promise I wouldn't run for a third term. But as one of the meanest plaintiff's lawyers, staunch Democrat, told some friends and lawyers in Fort Worth who conveyed it, he said, you were the most tenacious lawyer that he had ever known. Well, yeah, I do believe in fighting under the law for what we believe in. And that's what I would be doing as Attorney General. There is so much to do, but we've got to have sequentially numbered ballots. And there was an Attorney General opinion asked for. We got an opinion out. It says 180 days is not enough time to make an opinion. We're still researching. It's not complicated. The law says paper ballots sequentially numbered. We do that. We do it like that. We can ferret out the fraud much more easily. I will be your warrior if you'll let me. Thank you.
And Justice Guzman. And thank you all, but I think our president of the club has only a few minutes, right? Yes, you may, yeah, go to you.
Thank you. We're going to wrap this up real quick for you. First of all, I want to thank all of the candidates that came here tonight and spoke to you. Passion and the commitment that they have made in running for office and in expressing their views to you, so you have a better understanding of who they are and what they feel. You know, what's important, I heard some issues tonight that I really wanted to hear, and you have told me that you wanted to hear. This whole issue about law enforcement and the way that we need to support our law enforcement officials and make certain that we have the right judges that support the law the way it's supposed to be supported. The issues of the border, you always talk to us about those issues and how important you see those issues. And we heard several comments about that tonight from the candidates. Another issue is voter integrity. And you have many of you have talked to us about voter integrity. I would like to make a clarification on a comment that I made about voter integrity. So it's not the sequential paper ballot that is a concern. It is ballot harvesting that leads to the potential for fraud and an unfair election. So if I didn't make that point at the beginning, then I was in error, and I want to make sure I get that corrected. Okay, we want to wish you a good evening. I know it's been a long night, but you can head on home now. Thank you very much for your attendance. We appreciate it.